All right. Hello, wine drinking people. Another great week of drinking here at the Wine Watch. Winding things up, going into a holiday weekend. Looking forward to my day off tomorrow. If you guys drink through your stash, I will be back on Monday for a short period of time. Just call me to make sure that I'm here if you want to stop by. But what have we got to sell you today? Well, today, one of our old favorites from the Napa Valley, Mount Veeder Winery. And this is a winery that was started in the 60s. Well, I think actually the first vintage was 1973. But Michael Bernstein bought the property in 1965, began developing it up on Mount Veeder. It's located right next to the Hess Collection Winery. And some fabulous Cabernets through the years have come out of this winery. It's been through several ownership changes through the years. Huneeus kind of brought it back from the depths. It actually was owned by somebody from Miami, Matheson, whose grandfather owned the whole entire island of Key Biscayne at one time. Kind of an interesting fact about Mount Veeder and its history linked to South Florida here. Today, it's owned by the Icon Group Franciscan Estates, which is owned by Constellation Brands, the largest wine group in the world. But it is still run like a small family winery. If you look at their website, you're thinking, man, these people need to update this. It's a few vintages behind. Usually you don't see that in large companies that have, entire segments just to work on things like that. But it's still kind of run like a small family winery, which is one of the reasons we like Mount Veeder. A lot of the fruit still comes from this original mountain vineyard, although they have changed a little bit. They started buying some fruit for this Napa label here. And one of the things that they've done with this 2006 vintage is add a little bit of Syrah to the wine. This wine has got 15% Syrah. And mountain fruit can tend to be a little tannic and a little aggressive, so the addition of Syrah helps to round out the back of the palate, and it doesn't leave you with that desert mouth, that dryness that Cabernet can have when it's really young, especially from mountain fruit. And Mount Veeder was known for that. We had the 1977 vintage at our California cult tasting just a month or so ago, and the 77 was still tannic. I couldn't believe this wine, even though it still had a little fruit left, you could tell more tannins than fruit, and that was typical of wines from the 70s in Napa Valley. They were very tannic, and that was a drought year as well, another reason that wine was still tannic. But like I said, today the wines have changed. The style's a little more forward. They're adding some fruit from the valley floor, and the addition of this Syrah varietal make this one a little more appealing. However, 2006, kind of similar vintage to 1996. I put Robert Parker's review of the 06 vintage in the notes here for you to check out. He does point out that Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, they had some problems with botrytis, which is a rot that they sometimes get infected with the vineyards, that will tend to diminish the quality of varietals like Chardonnay and Pinot. And it's good for dessert wines if you're making sauternes. That's the noble rot what they call the noble rot in Bordeaux, and that's the reason they can make great sweet wines there. So check out this 2006 Mount Veeder on this offering. This wine is big. Black cherries, currant berry fruit, cassis on the nose with hints of black earth, dried herbs, bittersweet chocolate. A big and structured wine on the tongue with lots of tannins. As I mentioned before, 2006, a little bit reminiscent of 96. These young wines still have quite a bit of tannin to them. This wine would be better on the second or third day that it's open, so decanter this puppy up. Still some dry, chalky tannins right when you open it up. Like I said, in a few days, that'll soften out. Or in a few years, if you want to set a case or two of this aside in your cellar, that's what I would recommend. And at $22 a bottle, it's $40 at the Winery Direct on the website. We have this at almost half off. Check it out on today's email. I'm your host, Andrew Lamposone, signing off for the week, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.